I know it's been an exhaustive day. You just left a roundtable with President Trump. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course. It's been 1 week since we've seen those catastrophic floods. I feel like we're just getting the magnitude of the damage done there. What was your assessment on the ground today?
I think that's right. I mean, every day we hear about, the number of people that are still missing. You're finding cars that are buried under 6 feet of sediment, and we're just at a point where the water rose to. I mean, it's I don't know exactly the number of feet above the river level it is, but it's pretty high. To imagine houses swept away that are that high above the river gives you an idea of the magnitude of the flash flood and just the way the way the river is here, because of the canyon. It does create this potential for this extreme wall of water to just suddenly come out, which is what happened, and it really is devastating. But what also came out of that roundtable, though, was, I think, a message of unity. Everyone's stepping up to the table. I think, contrary to a lot of whether it's just political attacks for the sake of political attacks. And the truth is, Coast Guard was out here almost right away, doing hundreds of rescues. Local law enforcement, state agencies were really on top of their game, doing everything possible in an impossible situation.
From what you're seeing, is Kerr County, is Hunt County, I should say, even inhabitable right now?
Yes, yeah. I mean, look, there's certain houses, of course, are not. I mean, some houses were swept away completely. You can see the devastation of especially the riverbed itself. But don't get me wrong, this community will rebuild, and there's a determination here. There's a Texas strong mentality here. I've seen it in my hometown when we went through Hurricane Harvey. Tens of thousands of homes destroyed, and of course we will rebuild, and that's exactly the plan.
Yeah, what we do know about Texans is that they are resilient. You wrote an op-ed in the Free Press about all the heroism that happened that day. I really urge our viewers to read it. It was an excellent write-up. You talked about neighbors saving neighbors. You mentioned one name in particular that I want to focus on, Emma Foltz, a counselor at Camp Mystic, a senior at Louisiana Tech, who didn't hesitate. She guided 14 young campers from rising waters to high ground. That must have taken so much bravery. You talked about the victims as well. What made you write that piece?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's the American story, one of resilience and heroism, and you never know if you're going to be a hero until the time comes. And that particular young woman could have just hid away. She could have let the fear overcome her, but instead she thought of the young kid that she was in charge of and loved them to safety. And there's probably so many more stories like that we just don't know about. I wish we could write about all of them and show people that there's still heroes out there. But I think people need to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. The county had to know that kids' summer camps were right in the flood zone area. That's not a surprise. Some of the cabins at Mystic stood in extremely hazardous floodways. Many states ban construction in floodways, just like the ones we're seeing at Camp Mystic. Why was this camp allowed to put cabins, especially with 8- and 9-year-olds living there for the summer?
Look, I mean, it's easy in hindsight to say that, but I'm not sure it's fair. Camp Mystic has been there for 100 years. I think their 100th anniversary. It's an institution. It's a staple of Texas summer camps. We could argue this is a 1 in 1,000-year type flood. I mean, it is flash flood alley. We've had major floods in the past. They had plans in place to try and alert counselors, but this is all the bad things happening at once. The timing of it, on 4th of July weekend, middle of the night. I mean, earlier that day there was warnings going out, but nobody's even seeing any rain. And living in Texas, we get these kind of warnings a lot. And but when it gets really bad and it's 2 a.m., you're not sure everybody's getting notified, but they're notified because the water was all of a sudden rushing in that fast. And some of it just happened too fast to react to. Worth noting too, I mean, can't miss it. They tragically lost 28 girls, but they also saved over 500.
Yeah.
And it's no consolation to the families who lost somebody at all. But it's hard. There's going to be changes. There's going to be a legislative session in Texas starting in 10 days that will, of course, look at what changes need to be done. They're going to hold Dan Patrick with this. They're going to hold that hearing right there in the county, not in Austin, but right here. So they can hear from the people and see what we could do better.
Yeah, thank you for that context, because you're right. Hindsight is 2020. Before I let you go, Congressman, President Trump and the First Lady assessed the damage today. The president is now backing away from his earlier decision to eliminate FEMA, but the administration says reforms will be coming. What kind of reforms do you think are needed currently?
Hard to say. Look, this is a situation or an issue I worked on early in my congressional career because I was coming off the days of Hurricane Harvey, and I think people first of all misunderstand what FEMA is for. FEMA is the last stop. Your first responders are the local and state police. They're the ones actually doing the operations. It's not like FEMA has an army of people ready to just deploy to save folks in these kind of situations. That's not what FEMA's for. FEMA is the support on the back end. And to the extent that it could be better, I think what I've noticed, at least in my district, is those claims can be made more efficiently. People who lose everything don't want to fill out 15 different forms to get their claim done. And it's going to be things like that I think are important. And that sounds very small, but it's not small when you just lost your whole house and you're trying to be made whole again. So I don't know what the administration has in mind, so I can't exactly speak to it, but I can just say from experience, there's probably some administrative efficiencies that could certainly be improved.
And you're right, it's not small at all. Congressman, thank you so much and safe travels, sir.
Thanks.